One thing that never gets talked about is how the Mandela effect may have altered Thanksgiving itself, and not just random memories or small details, but the traditions, symbols, and history we've all grown up with. The Mandela effect is when a large group of people remember something one way, only for it to appear different today, almost as if it changed. It's one thing when it happens to logos or movie quotes, but it's an entirely different situation when it happens to a national holiday that millions of people celebrate every single year. People have been noticing strange differences in how Thanksgiving used to be. Memories that don't match, details that don't line up, and parts of the holiday that seem off. When something as established as Thanksgiving begins to shift, it creates an even bigger question. What else is changing without us noticing? So get ready, because today isn't just a holiday, it's a Mandela effect. Let's check out some Thanksgiving Mandela effects. If you're like many others out there, you might believe that Thanksgiving used to fall on the third Thursday of November. This belief is widespread and discussed all over the internet, but apparently has never been true. Thanksgiving is now always on the fourth Thursday of November, which means it will always fall between November 22nd and November 28th, depending on the year. If you did believe it was on the third Thursday of November, you're not the only one. You can find post after post of people being confused that Thanksgiving Day has apparently moved. But that's the weird part, it hasn't moved, at least not in the last 80 years. And even all the way back then, it wasn't on the third Thursday of November. This is just one of those really weird Mandela effects that a ton of people believe, but reality, for whatever reason, doesn't line up. So what do you remember? Thanksgiving is typically made up of a bunch of different elements. You have family, you have friends, community, but one of the biggest elements of Thanksgiving is the meal that everyone shares. You know what I'm talking about. Turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, gravy, cranberry sauce, rolls. The list is endless and it's slightly different for every family. But what if one of those foods changed? Like everything is the exact same, but one of them now has changed. And you noticed it, and your uncle noticed it, and your daughter noticed it, and all these random people all over the world noticed that this one food has changed. How would you feel about that? It would make you feel crazy, right? You'd be like, this is insane, and you start looking it up, and there's lots of people that feel this way, but there's no evidence to prove that you and everyone else is correct. This situation exactly is what the next Mandela effect is all about. Do you remember Kraft stovetop stuffing? Or was it Stouffer's stovetop stuffing? Which do you remember? Get this, it has apparently always been Kraft. Imagine going to the store to buy some of the stovetop stuffing, only to find out that the brands you're looking for not only don't exist, but have never, ever existed. And that brand, Stouffer's, has never actually made stovetop stuffing before. For all the people that remember Stouffer's, I don't know what to tell you. And for Thanksgiving this year, if you celebrate it, unfortunately, Kraft is your only option. These food Mandela effects, I swear, it's so confusing. Let's go way back in time to the 1500s and talk about King Henry VIII. Specifically, a painting of Henry VIII by the artist Hans Holbein. That's this guy right here. So you're probably wondering, what does King Henry VIII have to do with Thanksgiving? Well, it's not about him specifically. It's about what people remember him holding. And that was a turkey leg, a staple of modern-day Thanksgiving dinner. Does that make this a Thanksgiving Mandela effect? Well, got a turkey in it, so I'm gonna count it. Let's get into the details. This portrait is well known around the world and has replicas in many countries. So if your childhood was like mine and so many others, you visited a museum in your youth and saw a replica of this painting on one of its many walls. Apparently many people remember Henry VIII holding a turkey leg. Does that sound like what you remember? The belief was that Henry VIII was a plump and extremely wealthy fellow in his time. I mean, obviously, he was the king. The turkey leg he held in his hand in this portrait was representative of that. But here's the thing, in the painting, he isn't holding a turkey leg. In his portrait, he is holding what appears to be a glove. And the weird thing is that the glove doesn't resemble a turkey leg in the slightest. But upon doing research for this Mandela effect, I did discover that turkeys were introduced in England in the 1520s, which is during the time that King Henry would have been in charge. So it's entirely possible that he could have been munching on a turkey leg during that time. Another interesting detail I discovered is that turkey was King Henry VIII's favorite food, and he made it a staple of any Christmas dinner. Perhaps it was popular media like The Simpsons that planted this idea in people's minds. In a 2004 episode of The Simpsons, Homer was playing Henry VIII, and yes, he had a turkey leg in his hand. Did this inspire the belief of the turkey leg? Or was this inspired by the fact that the portrait did at one point have a turkey leg in it? You know, maybe there is something to this one. Was King Henry VIII always holding a glove in his hand in this world-famous portrait? Or was it at some point a turkey leg? If it did exist, and somehow changed over the last 500 years, what is the chance that the change happened during our lifetimes for us to even notice it? It's a real head-scratcher. What do you think? The cornucopia, also known as the Horn of Plenty. This symbol is deeply associated with Thanksgiving, and I'll tell you why. Its origins tie back to Greek and Roman mythology, where the cornucopia represented nourishment and abundance, which I'm sure you're going to feel after eating 3 days worth of food in one sitting. If you're anything like me, you're probably watching this video between naps. And if that's the case, well, happy Thanksgiving specifically to you. I hope no political arguments have broken out. The cornucopia symbol evolved over time to represent the bountiful harvest celebrated during the holidays. It's why a lot of families will have a cornucopia out on display during Thanksgiving and the fall season. Essentially, it represents gratitude for the harvest this season. But the cornucopia has come to mean something very different for people who are fans of the Mandela effect. When we see the cornucopia, we connect it to the Fruit of the Loom clothing brand, which is the perfect representation of the Mandela effect. Everyone remembers its logo having a cornucopia, and yet it has apparently never had one. This has led to many people deeply researching this topic and struggling to make sense of it. Because of this, the symbol of the cornucopia has come to represent what used to be. It stands for the changes that have seemingly happened when no one was looking. Logos change, events differ, memories clash. It's a wild experience, as I'm sure you've been feeling during this video. So next up, I'm going to put together everything I've ever said about Fruit of the Loom and its missing cornucopia into one massive collection. So let's cut out a big slice of this Thanksgiving mystery. The Mandela effect surrounding Fruit of the Loom is in regards to its artwork. It's a pile of fruit, but what so many people remember was the cornucopia behind the fruit, as though the fruit had spilled out of the cornucopia. Fruit of the Loom has always denied this, and they've said it's never existed, but so many people remember this missing cornucopia, myself included. So for April Fools, Fruit of the Loom updated its logo to include the missing cornucopia all over its website. Take a look at it. It's weird, it looks strangely familiar to so many of us. Obviously this is a wink and a nod to fans of the Mandela effect, and it's a pretty good April Fool's Day prank, but it's still so weird because so many people remember this logo with a cornucopia. So what do you think of this prank? Is it a gaslighting attempt to make you all feel crazy, or is this just all in good fun? I'm curious to hear your take on it. I want to talk about an interesting find regarding the Fruit of the Loom Mandela effect. This update is in regards to a photo taken in 1939 of an extremely poor family's house during the Great Depression. The family's wallpaper is made from glued up newspaper clippings, and if you look at this specific place on the wall, you'll see an ad for Fruit of the Loom. At first glance, this ad appears blurry, but it looks like it has a cornucopia in it. If it does indeed have a cornucopia, this proves that the Fruit of the Loom artwork has changed. The debate around this photograph has caused a lot of argument online, and because of this, I decided to use an AI upscaler to enhance the details and see for myself. Now remember, this company swears it never used a cornucopia in any of its company branding. In fact, we have an entire visual list of all of their previous logos. So after enhancing this, what did I find? Well, once I zoomed in and enhanced the blurry old mess of a photo, I discovered this. Yeah, it's not pretty, but it tells us a lot. After rotating it and going through a mess of old logos, I finally found one that matches. It's the 1893 to 1927 Fruit of the Loom logo, meaning this newspaper had been hanging on their wall for over a decade. It also means that this logo doesn't have a cornucopia. I know it looked like it did from afar, but unfortunately the mystery still remains. You'd think that's it for the Fruit of the Loom residue, but I've actually got two more updates for you. First up is a trademark filed in 1973 and granted in 1974 by Fruit of the Loom. This trademark was in fact for a deodorant. Now here is the interesting thing about this trademark. It has a piece of art attached to it, which I'm showing you now. I'd like you to analyze this piece of art right here as I read the literal description for the trademark. Berries, grapes, alone or in bunches, apples, baskets, bowls, and other containers of fruits, including cornucopia, Horn of Plenty. Now why would Fruit of the Loom, a company who swears to have never used a cornucopia in any of their artwork ever, claim a cornucopia in their trademark? I don't know about you, but I find that pretty strange. The trademark was eventually canceled, which you might think, oh, they realized the mistake by adding a cornucopia in the description and then canceled the trademark right away. But that's not what happened. This cancellation took place in 1988, a full 15 years after it was first registered. Fun fact, while researching this, I learned that Fruit of the Loom is one of the earliest trademarks in America, given the number 418. Their first trademark was given 1 year after trademark laws were first passed by Congress. Not only that, the trademark predates Coca-Cola, the paper bag, and even the light bulb. The last thing I have to say about Fruit of the Loom in this video is in regards to Breaking Bad. I was rewatching Breaking Bad for the 20th time because it's such a phenomenal show in every regard, and I caught something really funny. In Season 2, Episode 6, there is a sign shown for a fictional company called Rio Grande, Fruits and Vegetables. Beside that name is a fake company's logo, a cornucopia filled with a variety of interesting fruits and veggies. This is obviously a reference to the classic Fruit of the Loom cornucopia that never existed, and we all know about it for completely unknown and mysterious reasons. There you have it, an entire helping of Thanksgiving Mandela effects for you to feast on. Are you full yet? If not, check out one of my other recent videos. I have a ton of them, but what I want to know is which one affected you the most. For me, it's the missing cornucopia. It's just so freaky to me that something like that can just not exist. I don't know about you, but these things make me feel crazy. I feel gaslit. Anyway, thank you for watching. Go enjoy some time with your family, and I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, never stop searching.